Hello everyone, welcome back. We're going to continue our series of videos about Norway, and this one's the dark side of the living in Norway. Gives you many abilities, some would seem to be unnatural. I don't know all the lines perfectly, but I'm just trying to do my best Palpatine voice. The dark sides of living in Norway. Pop culture has ruined. I'm just talking ball of pop culture references. All right, it's just the dark side. I can't not say dark side. This video is titled The Dark Side. The Dark Side. The Dark Side. Alright, let's see what this video's about.
Dark sides of living in Norway. Hey everyone, welcome to our channel. Today we are going to discuss 10...
Let's see how clickbaity this is. I mean, it's naturally has to be a clickbait to some degree. It's like dark sides. How dark are we going here? Are they just going to be like relatively normal things that might perturb some people? And then it's considered the dark side?
Dark sides of living in Norway. We will walk you through the dark sides of living in this amazing country and help you decide if it's the right place for you. From high costs of living and inconsistent weather to social conventions of limited interaction with strangers, let's dive into some dark sides.
Social conventions of limited interactions with strangers? Sounds perfect.
That often get lost when considering life in Norway.
Whoa.
Stay tuned to find out more. 1. You will never be Norwegian. If you've ever been brave enough to visit Norway as a non-Norwegian, chances are that you've encountered the infamous Viking stare. You know the one. It's like the Norwegians have judged your worthiness simply from looking at you. The food here is also something that us non-Norse folks struggle with. If your idea of comfort food is anything other than boiled cod or reindeer stew...
The Viking stare sounds... I'm somewhat skeptical of this so-called Viking stare for anybody that lives in Norway, but... What? Like, what's the cutoff? You have to be born in Norway? You have to be... yeah, okay.
Also known as lutefisk, then I hate to say it, but Norway may not be for you. Not only is this cuisine notably unappetizing to some, there's really no way around it either. But everyone also seems to eat traditional Norwegian dishes every single day, so don't expect any variety on the dinner table anytime soon. On top of all these small annoyances, however, there is perhaps nothing more trying than learning how to speak Norwegian, an incredibly hard language even for those steeped in its culture. It is certainly one of the negative sides of moving to Norway. 2. Darkness. There are some dark sides of living in Norway that you might not be aware of. Take darkness, for instance. With its northerly location, Norway experiences genuine polar night from late November to mid-January in some parts. That's a whopping 8 weeks without seeing any daylight at all. And if you thought those...
8 weeks with no daylight. Yeah, that wouldn't be for me necessarily. I mean, I'm sure I'd get used to it if I grew up there. And that's not for the entirety of Norway, right?
Midnight suns were magical during the summer months. This kind of darkness could certainly feel like an interminable gloom settling over you. Just imagine 90 days with no natural light. Try not to think about it too much or take on a gothic aesthetic. Tis best just brace yourself for it and accept your fate until February arrives. 3.
I've seen like these posts lately that the prevalence or the higher prevalence of northern lights lately are due to chemtrails. That's what people are posting on, just like people that I know. Discuss amongst yourselves.
High taxes. Let me be blunt. High taxes are one of the dark sides of living in Norway. And it isn't just for people with a lot of money or income. Everyone has to pay up. The average tax rate can range anywhere from 20 to 50%, depending on the region you live in. Oh yeah, did I mention that those rates don't even include value-added tax? It doesn't stop there. If you're an entrepreneur or own
death and taxes
property in Norway, then your taxes will be even higher. On top of all this, some goods like cigarettes and alcohol cost significantly more here than other countries as they have additional sin taxes imposed on them by the government. 4. It's cold most of the year. Norway is a beautiful country with plenty of natural wonders to explore, but let's be real, the majority of the year is spent bundled up in layers upon layers of clothing, trying to stay warm against the unforgiving Nordic winds. It is certainly one of the most annoying negative sides of moving to Norway. But why is it so darn cold in Norway, you may ask?
It's northern.
Well, it all has to do with the country's location in the far north of Europe. Norway is situated at a high latitude, which means it gets less direct sunlight
Thanks, tips.
throughout the year. This, combined with the country's long coastline and the fact that it is surrounded by cold
Is there trails on top of the peak? It looks like there is. Wow.
oceans, means that temperatures stay low for most of the year. And let's not forget about the dreaded polar night, which occurs in parts of Norway during the winter months. This is when the sun doesn't rise above the horizon for weeks on end, leaving the country in a state of perpetual darkness. 5. Hard to find a job. It's a struggle no matter where you are, but it can feel especially daunting in a country like Norway.
Okay, what's the unemployment rate? Let's check this out right now. Unemployment. Let's just fact check this, right? Unemployment rate in Norway. Okay. Unemployment refers to the share of labor forces without work but available for and seeking employment. Norway's unemployment rate for 2022 was 3.23%. That's incredibly low. Let's just see. So in 2022, it was 3.23. What about Canada? So 6.5%. I'm not sure when that statistic is from and the veracity of these statistical outputs, but I'm sure that it's, it seems to me that this is kind of painting a potentially not 100% clear picture of the job market in Norway. I don't know. I always find these things to be weird like this. Oh, it's impossible to find a job. Probably, I can get a job tomorrow. Like if, say I got fired, I can get a job tomorrow if I really wanted to, but it might not be the job you want.
Don't get us wrong, Norway is a great place to live with a high standard of living and plenty of opportunities. But let's be real, finding a job in Norway can be a bit of a challenge. One of the main reasons for this is the country's small population. With only about 5 million people living in Norway, the job market can be quite competitive. This is especially true in the larger cities like Oslo, where the demand for skilled workers is high. But it's not just the competition that makes finding a job in Norway tough. There's also the language barrier to consider. Although many Norwegians speak English, it's still a good idea to have at least a basic understanding of Norwegian if you're...
So this video is definitely coming from the perspective of Norway being a prospective place to live, right? So it's kind of looking at it from that angle, which, a lot of these points would be disincentivizing to some people, right?
You're hoping to land a job. If you are not skilled, then this is one of the negative sides of moving to Norway that you should seriously consider. 6. No Amazon. Now, before you start throwing your laptop out the window in frustration, let's take a moment to examine the reasons why. One of the main reasons Amazon isn't available in Norway is due to the country's strict regulations on foreign companies. These regulations are put in place to protect local...
Honestly, who cares? I'm sorry. Really? That's a...
businesses and ensure that they are able to compete with international companies. Amazon's absence is definitely one of the dark sides of living in Norway.
It's trash
no
anyways.
More 2-day shipping for those last-minute gifts. No more endless scrolling through pages of products. And
endless scrolling.
No more Amazon Prime discounts. It's a tough pill to swallow, we know. But fear not, there are still plenty of other options for online shopping in Norway. Local retailers like Elkjøp and Komplett offer a wide range of products and often have competitive prices. 7.
This solved our problem right there.
Is expensive. One of the main reasons
Tell me about
is
it,
expensive
buddy.
in Norway is due to the high cost of living in the country. Norway has a strong economy and a high standard of living, which means that the cost of goods and services is generally higher than in other countries.
Listen, for 2 people, you're spending $8,200 if you're eating out. Canadian. Unless you're going to like McDonald's, where it's going to be still $25, $30. But then you're eating McDonald's, so.
But it's not just the cost of living that makes eating out pricey in Norway. The country also has high taxes on food and alcohol, which can add a significant amount to the final bill. And let's not forget about those pesky service fees, which are often included in the price of a meal. 8. High rent. For many people living in Norway these days, rent takes up a
First time.
large portion of their budget each month. This makes it difficult to find affordable housing, especially in cities, without breaking the bank. It also means that living costs are higher here than in most other countries around the world, which can make life really hard for those on lower incomes or retirees who rely on fixed pensions. In addition to causing financial stress amongst residents, it also means that fewer people can actually afford to live here, as house prices have been steadily increasing over time. Not only does this put pressure on existing housing stock, but it could potentially discourage foreign investment. So while many love living here because of its breathtaking views and incredible nature-filled surroundings, they may soon be unable to do so if things don't change soon. 9. Postal Service is very slow.
All of this sounds quite familiar.
One of the most inconvenient ones is undoubtedly the snail-like pace of Norwegian postal services. In fact, it's so slow that many Norwegians joke about sending letters to the past rather than to faraway relatives. You probably wouldn't believe how much time you can lose waiting for your mail to be delivered, and then there's always the risk that it will take longer than expected, or worse, get lost. Postal delays are such an integral part of Norwegian life that some people now use Norwegian post time as a way to explain why they weren't able to meet their deadline. 10. Clearing the UDI immigration hurdles. There is one dark side to living in Norway that not many people talk about: clearing the UDI immigration hurdles. Yes, if you're looking to move to this beautiful Scandinavian country, then be prepared for some rigorous visa applications and paperwork. It can be an incredibly tedious process at times, from gathering various documents from home countries or getting medical screenings done before being approved by the Norwegian
Probably easier for some people and harder for others.
Directorate of Immigration, UDI. Not to mention all the back and forth emails with their legal team if something goes wrong. Often, even after following every guideline correctly, you may still find yourself stuck waiting for months on end just trying to figure out what went wrong or why your visa was denied in the first place. It's enough to make anyone pull their hair out.
Welcome to bureaucracy.
In conclusion, living in Norway can be a great experience as it is known for its beautiful scenery and vibrant culture. However, there are some dark sides of living in Norway, such as high taxes, challenging climate, and expensive living costs. Despite
There's our northern road there. I like that one.
these issues, though, Norway remains an attractive destination for many due to its high quality of life and fantastic countrywide services. If you prepare
So yeah, a lot of this didn't sound too unfamiliar, even just from the perspective of being a Canadian. Like, I think a lot of these issues are across the quote-unquote kind of Western countries. So it's just inflation and rising costs and high taxes, cost of living, housing prices, rent prices. Yeah, it's all going up as wages stagnate. And yeah, there's an imbalance that, I don't know, surely it has to hit a boiling point of some sort. The bubble must burst at some point, but who knows, right? We'll see. All right, that was certainly interesting exploring that. All right, see y'all in the next one. Cheers.